In this video, we're going to take a look at the VCP6-DCV show on IT Pro TV. Now, in addition to having one of the longest acronym names available, it's also one of the more popular ones. It's from VMware, and it focuses on virtualization technologies using the vSphere version 6 suite. So let's take a look at what this exam is, who's going to work towards this, and the certification, and the other things that are involved with this series. Now, it is a lot of fun, and I really want to stress a couple of things first off. This is designed to be the starting point for getting certified with VMware. They have a VCA, which is kind of an introduction to VMware and vSphere, and then there's the VCP, which is what this show is based on. And this is for people who are going to be implementing and deploying, maintaining VMware vSphere out there in the real world. Now, the products have a number of different names, and so when I say vSphere, that might not mean anything to you. You might know it better as VMware's ESX or ESXi, vCenter, vSphere Suite itself, vCenter, let's see, what else do we have? Horizon View, vRealize, all these different products from VMware are a part of the vSphere Suite. And the VCP6-DCV, it actually covers a lot of those different technologies from a real-world application standpoint. These are things that you're going to be using out there. All right, so let's take a look at the certification. I've got VMware's webpage pulled up here, and they're basically detailing information about the certification. And the full name is the VMware Certified Professional 6 Data Center Virtualization. Previously, we had version 5 for vSphere Suite 5 and 5.5. Now we're up to version 6, but not much has changed as far as the certification itself. They do have that VCA, VCA 6-DCV. It's kind of an introductory certification. We have that content on IT Pro TV also, but a lot of people choose to skip over that because it is very, very basic, very introductory, just kind of helping you recognize the products, not actually do anything. And so it's once you get to the VCP 6, that's where you're actually learning how to do stuff, how to implement vSphere in your environment and be able to maintain and support it. Now, some of you may move on to the more advanced certifications like the VCAP and the VCIX. Those are more advanced, but we're limiting ourselves right here to this professional level. And there's a main reason for that. One of the big reasons is that a lot of people watch our shows because they want to get certified. Unfortunately, VMware has a very strict rule. If you want to take the exam, you have to take an authorized course from VMware. And I can't stress this enough. The IT Pro TV course is a great course. We cover everything that's on the exam, but it is not an authorized course from VMware. And what that means is that if you watch our show from start to finish and you learn everything and you're ready to go, you're still not qualified to take the exam. And you can see that right up here in the new candidate requirements. If you come down here and you say, I'm new to VMware Data Center Virtualization, they'll tell you the steps, right? First off, they want you to work with vSphere for at least 6 months. Have a little exposure to it. Don't just come in with no knowledge. Then attend one of the required training courses. You've got to attend their authorized training course. And at the end of the course, they'll give you a voucher that lets you take the exam. We can't give you the voucher because it's not an authorized course. So if you're just looking to learn about VMware and deploy it in your environment, our show is great. If you've already taken an authorized course and you're looking to reaffirm that knowledge and get ready for the exam, again, our course is great. But if you're just starting out and you're dead set on getting that exam, then the IT Pro TV show might not be the right one for you. Definitely keep that in mind when you go to look at this. After that, though, you can complete the Foundations exam, or you can skip over it and go right to the VCP6-DCV exam, take it, pass it, and get your VCP certification. Now, the exam itself, let me show you the details on it. It's 100 minutes, so it's a little more than an hour and a half, and it's 85 questions. The majority of the questions are multiple choice, so it's not too challenging. You do have a couple of drag and drop and a couple of simulation type questions, but most of it's multiple choice. And you churn through. It's not terribly expensive compared to some vendors. In each country, it's priced a little different. Here in the US, it's $225, and you can jump in and take that exam, pass it, and get certified. Now, you do need to renew it every couple of years to stay up to date, but new versions of vSphere come out, and that's what a lot of people will do, is just take the newer versions, and that renews you and keeps you current. Now, the exam itself covers a range of topics, and this is what we've based our show on. When you watch the IT Pro TV show for VCP6-DCV, we run through each of these areas. Now, we have rearranged the topics a little bit. See, for example, how it starts right off with administering vSphere 6 security. Well, we didn't do that. We started with getting the vSphere suite installed. It's kind of important to get it installed before you can secure it. So we arranged ours to be in a little bit more logical order, but we do cover every single one of the objectives that are listed here on the screen. We cover securing vSphere, and that's the vCenter server as well as the ESXi virtualization host. We cover securing all of that. We cover networking and storage configuration. That's part of your infrastructure, and that's got to be done right, otherwise you're going to have poor performance. We talk about doing deployments and upgrades. You might have an existing 5 or 5.5 environment. We cover how to upgrade that to 6 and get that in place. We talk about administering and managing our resources. This is kind of like the monitoring and maintaining of vSphere. We need to keep track of all of our hardware and software and make sure that it's performing at its peak. We talk about backing up and recovering the deployment, all the different pieces that go into our solution, because there's a lot of different components, and we need to make sure that we know how to back that up and to restore it in the event that we have a failure. We cover troubleshooting tools. There's a ton of different tools and techniques available for finding and fixing problems inside of vSphere, so we run through a lot of those. Some are obvious, ones that you see in the GUI. Others are a lot more cryptic and command liney, kind of buried behind the scenes, but are incredibly useful for when you're having problems. We also talk about consolidating your data center. So this is what it's really talking about here, is converting physical machines into virtual machines. So we kind of run through that process of using the VMware converter to convert our physical machines, or even to convert virtual machines in other platforms. Maybe you have Hyper-V or Zen Server, and you want to bring those virtual machines into ESX. And so we cover how to do that. We talk about availability solutions like clustering inside of vSphere, as well as replication and a few other techniques that we can use to make sure that even if our entire building fails, that our virtual machines are still up and running somewhere else. And then lastly, we talk about managing the virtual machines themselves. When you start spinning up VMs, there's a lot of performance concerns and other areas that we need to be aware of to make sure that our virtual machines perform as well as their physical counterparts. Since that's the whole advantage of virtualization, is that we can get the same level of performance from non-dedicated hardware, and that frees us up for redundancy and performance improvements that you definitely want to take advantage of. So those are all the things that we're going to be tackling as we run through VMware, through the VCP6-DCV certification. We cover it all. It's a good time. If you're starting out with absolutely no exposure, then I do recommend you catch our VCA show. It's in the courseware library right beside the VCP show. You can watch the VCA, and it's very high level, and it just introduces you to all the different products. Because when you deploy vSphere, I mean, there's a good 10 different products in there that all work together, and it gets really confusing. So the VCA can shed a lot of light on that. But when you're ready to actually learn how to implement and use the technologies, VCP, that's the place you want to be. You're going to go right in there and start deploying the technologies, getting them put in place, and actually seeing it operate. And you'll see there's a lot of power to this. It's something everybody's using out there in the enterprise and business environments, so definitely something that you want to take advantage of. Well, if that sounds exciting to you, then you are in the right place. Stay tuned, because we've got episodes of VCP6-DCV coming up next.